When I tell you, this Aries new moon on March 21st, 2023 is the fresh new start that you have been waiting for, I am not kidding. Hi, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today all things Aries new moon, March 21st, 2023 and you. This new moon is powerful in its pure undistilled power and potency because this new moon is so much more than just a new moon. It is a new start. It is moving into a new era, one of courage and one of initiative, because in astrology the new year begins when the sun ingresses into Aries. So this is essentially the time for a new year resolution, right? Forget January 1st, right? That doesn't really make that much sense with the cycle of nature. This is the new start. This is the time to plant those seeds of new habits that you want to call in, that business that you've been so wanting to start, but you haven't had the courage to do so, that relationship that you want to go after, but fear has been holding you back. This is the new moon, new start, new you that you have been waiting for, March 21st. And here's why. This new moon is in the sign Aries, which is all about initiative, courage, fiercely stepping into that version of ourselves that has everything that we want, and being able to be emboldened by this desire for a new beginning. Because oftentimes, when we think of Aries, it's a ram, right? And think about a ram at the bottom of the hill. Sometimes that goal that you have, those desires that you have, they can feel so daunting. You can look at the top and be like, oh, that's so far up, and just allow that indecision to keep you at the bottom, being like, I don't know, it's going to be a really long hike. What if I can't do it? What if someone gets there to the top before me? I'll wait. This new moon is like, okay, waiting's done. We can get there step by step. Perfect is the enemy of done, truly. And Aries energy emboldens us to start on our fresh new journey, fresh new start, even if we're not totally prepared. Like if you've been around Aries energy, you know that there is a particular power and courage around someone who just fiercely and courageously just steps into this new era, learning as they go, right? Who is able to start on the journey. Like you can find, I'll wait. Whereas a ram who already started climbing like 2 years ago was at the top, and you're like, why aren't I there? Because you didn't start. Because oftentimes our indecision around, should I do it? Should I not? Should I not? Time goes by, my love. The time is now. Particularly as it relates to the Aries sector of your chart, which we will be diving into. Essentially, we will give a collective forecast, which I want you to listen to. I know a lot of people jump to their signs reading, which is all well and good, but I deeply recommend get the collective lowdown, understand how to celebrate this new moon, because I'm telling you, it'll give so much more nuance to this new start that we are moving into collective, as well as some of these themes can really be coming to the surface within your world. I give a lot more nuance in the general reading. So please make sure to check that out. But I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I just want to highlight, if you're feeling that instinct, this Aries energy, to hit any of those buttons. I deeply appreciate it, from a like to a subscribe to a share. Anything of that nature is just so helpful for me to continue to create cosmic content. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. Aries new moon collective forecast. So the Aries new moon lands on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023. And Tuesday is Mars Day, and Mars rules Aries. So again, there's a lot of energy imbued into this new moon around conquering challenges. Mars is about action and advocacy and assertion, going after what it is that we want, right? This lunation exacts, and make sure to adjust for your time zone, at 10:23 a.m. PDT. Please note that here in the US, our times just shifted, so just make sure to double check on that for wherever it is that you are located within the world. But even that feels really beautiful that it lands at like 1, 2, 3, right? This building block sensation around understanding. Every new step you learn something, but that first step is the hardest. And that's what this new moon is sort of pushing you to do. The bird doesn't feel ready to fly, but the mom, the universe, trusts that you can, right? And you learn, you flap your wings, you learn, you build that muscle, you learn, you hike to the top, you learn. But there's always that part of you that will feel not ready. There's always that part of you that will be like, can I do this? What if it fails, right? What if you fly? What if you get to the top? What if that business that you want to start succeeds beyond your wildest imagination? What if you and that person blossom into the most loving, heart-centered relationship? What if, what if, what if? And whenever we talk about Aries energy, it's all about really assessing your risk tolerance and truly what regret you would rather live with. Would you rather regret, oh, I tried and it didn't work out? Or regret, oh, I never even tried? Like, you need to understand what would feel the most crushing to you at the end of your life. I know I'm getting morbid. Maybe that's because this new moon lands in my 8th house. But, you know, you have to assess to you essentially what you would rather live with, right? And if you don't want to live with that pain or regret, I can't think of anything, you know, sadder to me than like anything that's like kind of suffocated by fear of trying, right? Like, at the end of the day, we think about ourselves way more than anybody else. Like, it might feel humiliating to you that you started that business that didn't quite work out. Like, you might be like, I can't start another one. That was so embarrassing. Nobody bought my bath salts and now I'm going to start something new. Yeah. Absolutely. You pivot. That's what the most successful entrepreneurs and people in this world do. They pivot. They learn from their mistakes and they keep going. But it starts with that decision to try, right? It starts with that decision to set off on that journey to start that thing. This is not my first business. Like, this is not my first business. You guys may have heard me share like in Magic Monday and things of that nature. But what led me to do this was a failed business. My friend and I tried to sell these like astrology bath bombs and essential oils. And it turned out we were losing money every time we sent them out because postage was so expensive and we didn't know how to price things. And we were wasting so many materials because sometimes the bath bombs wouldn't come together. And we didn't really have a passion for bath bombs. We just really liked astrology. We did like Libra bath bombs, like Scorpio bath bombs. And I was like, wait, I don't really like making bath bombs, but I really like astrology. So let me just try to specialize in that. But I had to get comfortable. Like, people knew I had the bath bomb thing and like it was awkward. People were like, oh, what happened to that? And I'm like, oh, it didn't work out. But again, Aries is about that ferocious, fierce energy to just try it. You're going to learn something regardless. I learned my calling in life is not making bath bombs. And I learned I did learn how to make bath salts, and I learned a lot about essential oils. And furthermore, I learned how to run a business, which was helpful in my next pivot and my next pivot and my next pivot. Again, that won't be the story for you necessarily, but it's all about being able to have that beginner's mindset, right? Like, with this new moon, especially since it lands at 0 degrees, which in astrology is the most pure undistilled energy, this new moon truly feels like the full energy, right? Around being able to step into this new paradigm, step into this new era. Like, we don't know what happens after this photo. We don't know if he tumbles off the cliff or if the ground magically catches him. But again, there's this youthful excitement to learn what is to be learned, right? And you never know, like, it could work out. It just oftentimes when we're at the cliff and be like, should I do it? I don't know. Should I do it? Should I do it? You're keeping yourself from an opportunity to learn. So will every single new moon intention set during this Aries new moon blossom into your biggest desires? Not necessarily, but a lot will. And, you know, something that keeps me up at night truly is thinking, what if I could have had everything that I wanted? Like, all my dreams could have been realized had I decided to go for it. Had I decided to risk the fear of seeming stupid enough to go for it, right? Like, your fear of looking stupid is holding you back. And this Aries new moon is sort of nudging you, ready or not, right? Starting into this new era and understanding. Maybe it won't manifest how you think it will, but maybe it'll turn into something even better that you could have imagined. Learning a particular skill that helps you pivot, or learning something within that relationship that brings you to your soulmate. Like, again, this is a new moon that is about the courage to start, the courage to try, bolstered by this 0 degrees energy. This is the first degree of the zodiac. Do you get that? It is the most new beginning of new beginnings. Like, everything starts with 0 degrees Aries. That's where all of the zodiacal energy starts. 0 degrees Aries. And what's interesting is that we actually have 2 Aries new moons this year. This is the one to work with. This is the one about courage and initiative. What's the other one, you may ask? The other one occurs in April. It will be a solar eclipse, which is sort of just the time that the cosmos, where things get very erratic and the universe gets involved around really thrusting us, right? Like, this is a time to kind of plant the seeds around, I want to fly. That eclipse is sort of the universe being like, you're gonna fly. It's a little bit more erratic. It's not the energy that I would recommend manifesting with or setting intentions or doing rituals. Like when it comes to eclipses, if you've studied traditional astrology, you know it's a little bit of a malefic influence, okay? It is an energy that you kind of, like people used to not go outside during eclipses. It was a time that it was considered the gods gave things and took things away. Karmic, fated timelines speed up. So, you know, that's not the new moon I would work with. This is the new moon I would work with. And this new moon is conjoining Mercury, who's at 5 degrees Aries. So there is a strong vibe this new moon about speaking it into existence, about putting your words where your desires are, right? About what it is that you want. And I know there's various realms of thought on this. Some people like to keep things sacred until the actions do the talking for them. But for some of you, you're being asked to use your voice around being able to be fearless enough to ask for an opportunity, to put yourself out there, to share your story, right? To be able to also just speak to your friends, hey, I'm gonna go do this thing, because my realm of thought on this shifted quite a bit, because I used to be someone where I kept things very, very sacred until it was done, until I met with an intuitive who told me, she's like, when you voice what it is that you're working on, you essentially pull in those individuals who can help you manifest that as well. Now, I'm not saying throw out half-baked promises out there, but there is something powerful around people you trust to say, this is what I set out to do. Can you keep me accountable? Can you cheerlead me, right? Like when it came to releasing my course, I did not tell any of my friends. And it was such an isolating time because I was working all these long hours and I wasn't really pulling my friends in to tell them what it is that I was working on, right? It just felt so sacred and so personal, versus when I started a new project this year and I kind of looped them in, they kind of checked in on it around how is that going? Sometimes I'll share things in Magic Monday that I'm working on or anything of that nature. Because when you speak something into existence, you essentially are not only manifesting it for yourself and stepping into it yourself, but you're also allowing those individuals to manifest that for you, for them to see you within that light, saying, I'm going to run this half marathon, for people to see you within that and also hold you to that. Like, hey girl, where'd that half marathon go? This new moon is being a bit fogged. I won't lie to you. It is conjoining Neptune, which is out of sign conjunction. But since this Aries new moon lands at 0 degrees, it is technically conjunction, which is powerful. New moon on Neptune is about taking our dreams and making them reality, right? Taking the dreamy energy of Neptune and tethering it with practical actions, right? Like there is this energy with this new moon around allowing the dream to be built as you just jump in. Your dreams will never permeate exactly as you thought that they would, but oftentimes you can find they turn into something better because those desires are not random. They're given to you for a reason. And this new moon is sort of this energy around tapping into the dream and meeting that dream with action. That's a huge theme just with Saturn and Pisces as well. But with this new moon conjoining Neptune, it's like, okay, you dream about this, you can see it. Let's match it with action. Will the road get muddy and confusing at some points? Will you find that it pivots in a different direction that you didn't expect? Absolutely. But every successful business, every new invention, every song that you listen to started with that idea. That same substance that's within your brain, that's within your heart, that's within your spirit. And also this new moon conjoins Neptune, who is in Pisces, but because this new moon lands at such an early degree in Aries, they are technically conjoining. This can be muddying, but it can also be very, very mystical because Neptune is about the dream, right? And this Aries new moon isn't content just dreaming about it. It wants to jump into action. It wants to figure it out as it goes. So with this new moon on Neptune, it's like, okay, if you dream about this, let's make it happen. And just so you know, this is a theme that's being echoed by multiple parts of the cosmos, right? Saturn in Pisces is very much letting us know this piece as well, right? If what it is that we dream of, we need to meet it and match it with practical actions. And so with this new moon, it's like, okay, seeing the dream and taking action towards it. Will it pan out in a different way that we expected? Absolutely. Most things do. But will you be in an even better space? Absolutely. Will you learn something valuable? Absolutely. There is something about this new moon that speaks to overcoming, right? It speaks to this rebirth energy. Like certainly there's that pure full energy with that 0 degrees, but it's also making its way out of a very muddying aspect. Essentially, let me speak to what I mean. This new moon squares its ruler, Mars, which is in Gemini. It's been in Gemini for what feels like decades, but technically just since late last year. And Mars just cleared the shadow, which means it's finally in new territory of the sky, okay, at this new moon. All planets are direct. Mars has cleared the shadow. Jupiter is transiting new territory of the sky that it has been in, right? There's all this fresh new energy within the cosmos, and the ruler of this new moon is also direct, right? Boldly marching into the future, figuring it out as it goes, right? And as part of this new moon, Mars is separating from Neptune. So again, there was like this haze, there was indecision, there was lack of clarity, there was doubting yourself, there was doubting your abilities. And even though this new moon is pulling in this square to Mars, we might be a little bit brash and is pulling in this conjunction in Neptune, so we could be a little confused. These are both separating aspects, right? Like the moon is essentially moving away from these aspects. It's applying to Mercury, but it's separating from Neptune and Mars, which to me feels like this vibe of overcoming the indecision, overcoming going back and forth. What if I fall? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? It just feels like this energy around feeling the fears and doing it anyway, feeling the indecision and the confusion and doing it anyway, just being like, I'll figure it out as I go, right? A lot of times, businesses, great ideas, things get sucked in when you just are insistent on perfection. It needs to be perfect. Right when it launches, website, everything dialed in, needs to be ideal. Again, I'm not like some business expert or anything of that nature, but I will say it can be very powerful to just kind of build as you are ready, right? Like, let's say if you are interested in doing YouTube, you don't need to run out and get all of the most expensive camera equipment. You could just start on the equipment that you have now, get good at talking, build that little piece, build the next piece when you're ready to. Like me as an astrologer, I didn't have a website for like my first year of business. I just was really chiseling that muscle around getting good at readings, getting good at readings. Like again, you just learn as you go. You just learn as you go. And certainly there's a temptation around it needs to be glossy and it needs to be perfect and it needs to be ideal right out the gate. But like, what if you build up this whole thing making glossy and ideal? Like for me with my bath bombs, like what if I put in all this energy, all this money around bath bombs and just realize I don't even like freaking making them. I don't like it. Like sometimes life and experience is the most valuable form of data, right? Figuring out what it is that you like, as well as just meeting those dreams with practical actions, my love. So that's what this new moon is all about. Let's go ahead and dive into how it is that you can celebrate. So rituals are something that are deeply personal. So I don't want you to feel like these are rules. These are just ideas. If you're curious from an astrological perspective, what could be very powerful to kind of supercharge your Aries new moon intentions. So with it by Mercury, my love, use your words, okay? Whether it is journaling on your intentions. One time at a retreat, they organized something where we did dream walks, and this would be a great time for a dream walk, which essentially is when they had us all pair up and we had to have this entire conversation with the person that we were paired with, but from the version of ourselves that we wanted to be. So talking about, yeah, you know, I'm thinking about buying this mansion, or like, yeah, you know, that vacation was amazing, or like, yeah, you know, my soulmate's doing good. They do this for me and that for me. Like speaking it into existence, right? And allowing yourself to stand behind those visions, stand behind those desires. Yeah, that's what I want. Because oftentimes we're scared to say what it is that we want. It feels out there. It feels bizarre. Like I'll never forget a couple years ago on my birthday, I had this session. I don't remember exactly what the modality was called, but I'll never forget. She asked me, what would be your dream job? And I felt so much shame about admitting it. It felt so narcissistic, but I was like, this was before I started my YouTube channel, before I did anything. I was like, honestly, I would want to make videos. Honestly, I would want to make videos. And it felt so silly to say, because I was like, I know, it's so out there. And she's like, no, I think you should go for it. And it's like even allowing myself to say it, because I was almost like, okay, just go the safe route. Just say that, you know, that your dream would be something different. But I just stood behind my desires. I was like, yeah, I love making videos. I love talking. I love communicating. And that would be my dream job. And I wasn't worried about, does she think I'm narcissistic? Does she think I'm out there? Does she think I'm delusional? I just took that moment. I thought about not telling her at all, but I just took that moment to be like, this is what I want. There's power in language. There's power in asserting, this is my dream, right? It not only tells the universe, like, this is where I'm going, but also she helped manifest this. Like when we put ideas out there, they see us within that, right? They see us having that YouTube channel, or they can cheerlead us or things of that nature. Like we need to kind of get out of our own way around feeling scared to say our desires. Again, I know some people like evil eye, there are people who have malintent. So I'm not saying put it on a billboard, your desire, but understand when people want the best best for you, and that there's a lot of good within this world and a lot of people who want to see you live out your dreams, and that it's safe for you to stand by your desires. It's not out there. It's not delusional to want what it is that you want. It's given to you for a reason. So words is very important, whether it's talking or writing, filming a little YouTube video, filming a little podcast, even if it's just for yourself, just stepping into that higher version of yourself. Fire is always impactful when it comes to fire new moons. So perhaps being around fire, like allow this bold energy, right? That spark, right? That spark of inspiration to inspire you. So being around a campfire, writing your intentions around a candle would be very powerful. Of course, my lovely Rams, it may be helpful to go for a hike or do something that is physically strenuous, working out, going up a hike, doing something that puts you a little out of your comfort zone physically, because I think physicality not only is tied to the energy of Aries, but I also believe there is this energy about chiseling our body or being able to push our body to a limit and see that we are able to get to the other side, that teaches our mind and our spirit that that is possible, right? That the reason working out is so hard is because we push ourselves to our limit, right? In order to build muscle, in order to build growth. And oftentimes when it's mentally hard, when it's spiritually hard, we could be like, oh, this must mean I need to give up. But it's like, what if that muscle is on the other side, right? Where you encounter a similar setback and you don't fold in the same way because you have that muscle, because you show up regardless. So I think just matching the physicality as a microcosm this day to plant the seeds around exerting that stamina, right? Exerting that courage to keep showing up even when it's challenging, showing up to build that muscle, right? And truly with this Aries new moon, I want you to get playful with it. I want you to get playful with it. I want you to remember that we take life very seriously, but life is a game. Life is a game. Our birth chart is essentially player one. Transits are levels to beat, right? And when it comes to this new moon, I want you to have this playful excitement about what it is that you are setting off on, right? Like when it comes to my bath bombs, I didn't take it too seriously. I was like, oh, let's see if I like bath bomb, I don't know. And I had fun. Like my friend and I, we had great memories from that time. It didn't work out, but she and I would be in my kitchen, like stomach hurting from laughing. We met so many cool people through having these bath bombs and, you know, going to astrology classes to sell them and things of that nature. We met so many amazing people. And that's an experience I wouldn't have had, right? And just having that playful beginner's mind and understanding you don't need to have all the answers. And the most intelligent person in the room isn't the person who's like, I know everything, but the one who's open to learn from those around them and from the experience. Like, you know, in the experiences that I've had meeting very, very successful people, they're very open. They ask you a lot about you because you're successful because you learn from life around you. You understand that you don't know it all, right? Even if you've succeeded quite a bit, you understand that every day is an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to humble yourself, right? And it's not that this new moon is about that humbling, but it's just understanding, you know, you might feel like an absolute beginner at this and embracing the particular era about being a beginner, just being in that space, being playful with it, just allowing yourself to dial in, like what feels good, how do we pivot, right? There is beauty in being a beginner. Oftentimes when you're at the down, like at the bottom of the mountain looking at the top and you're like, I have to climb up that, I have to get to the top of that, it can feel very daunting, right? But there is beauty in that. A lot of successful people wish they could go back to that, right? Because there is this excitement about just starting off, right? Just learning, right? So be in that excitement, be in that unbridled space of possibility, of potential with this new moon landing at the very, very, very first degree of the cosmos. So I'm gonna go ahead and take us into our house by house Aries new moon reading. I wanna let you know how it is that you can find your personalized reading. So option one, if you utilize whole sign house system or you're newer to astrology, all I want you to do is look below and you'll see I've listed likely blank ascendant next to each of the readings. Go ahead and just find your ascendant or your rising sign and advance to that timestamp. If you don't know your rising sign, you can go to astro.com. You do need an exact time of birth. Put that in, get your rising, also called ascendant. Some sites it'll say AC, jump to that timestamp. If you use Placidus, I do as well. It is a little bit more complicated, but if you use Placidus, you feel me on this. I just like it. More is a house system. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to astro.com and find your circle chart, okay? It'll look like this. And I want you to find the Aries symbol. It's red and it looks like a little ram. So what I want you to do is I want you to find the line bordering that Aries symbol with the blue Pisces symbol. It looks like an H. The reason we look for that line is because where Pisces season ends, Aries season begins, right? This is where it all begins. So once you find that line, follow where that line is and look to the inner ring of the chart. You'll see pieces of pizza with little numbers on each. And I want you to see which number that 0 degrees Aries falls in. So in the example that you see on this screen, you'll see that 0 degrees Aries lands in the 6th house. We see 6 in the inner ring in that piece of pizza. That's where it lands. Let's say you're like, but Haley, Comet, it looks like it could be either way. Let's go ahead and consult the additional tables section. So what I want you to do is click PDF additional tables. Go to the right-hand side and you'll want to see which house you're stuck between. So let's say I'm stuck between 5th house and 6th house. In that case, I would want to know where the 6th house begins, right? Because knowing where the 6th house begins lets me know basically where the 5th house ends. So it lets me know where this new moon lands. If this new moon is at 0 degrees Aries, and we see in this example, the 6th house, 28 degrees Pisces, we know that 0 degrees Aries must be in the 6th house because Pisces comes before Aries. Hopefully this one's a little easier because it'll just be 0 degrees Aries. So if you see, 1 degrees Aries, it's in the prior house. 2 degrees Aries, it's in the prior house. If you see anything in Pisces, it's in the house after, okay? Once you find that house, go ahead and advance that timestamp and let's get into it. Sign by sign analysis. So my loves, if this Aries new moon lands within the 1st house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be an Aries ascendant or you just have 0 degrees Aries within your 1st house. Either way, this reading is for you. This is your personal new moon, my love, okay? And let me tell you, remember that new moon that I was talking about in the collective reading? Which, by the way, if you didn't listen to the collective reading, I see in my statistics that most people just jump to their house reading, which is fine. But seriously, there's so much nuance in understanding this new moon as a whole before jumping to your personalized reading. But anyways, in that I talked about how there is an eclipse coming up, also in the sign Aries. And that eclipse is on the North Node. And why this is relevant here is because I want you to know that you are stepping into a new period of visibility, okay? With that new moon most likely landing in your 1st house, at some point, North Node will enter your 1st house. If it hasn't yet, you're being thrust into the spotlight or step into independence in a fiercer way. And you are ready for this, okay? Some of you are reclaiming singleness or independence within your own life. Like you are planting the seeds around, no, I'm healing. I'm not going back to this person. I'm not going back to, toxic, confusing patterns. I'm planting the seeds around the person that I want to be. I'm not letting other people's visions fog what it is that I want to be. I feel that strongly for a lot of you. Like a lot of your desires could have been shaped around, well, this person wanted this for me and my mom wanted me to do this and my ex wanted me to do this. And this is just sort of energy where it's like, no more. I'm doing this for me. I'm following my path. And truly, this new moon is a bit of a bingo free spot. If you played bingo, there's like a space in the middle that basically you get for free. And I mean that in regards to this new moon because there's potential in everything nearly because it is the house of self and identity and appearance. So since it's the house of self, any desire that you have is really bolstered. I will let you know physicality is particularly favored if you wanted to plant the seed around a half marathon that you wanted to run, bodybuilding that you wanted to start. Some of you are fleshing out your authentic style truly with this new moon in the 1st house. Like you're trying to figure out what allows me to feel the most me. Like again, I just feel like there's a strong energy around separating what people have projected onto you or what society has projected onto you around how you should look, how you should dress. And there's this energy around, no more. I'm going to show up how I want to, even if it's, with the energy in Aries, even if it's brash, even if it's bold, even if it's not what you would want, even if I color outside of the lines, like I'm showing up. And with this energy, some of you are planting the seeds around more visibility, right? To understand that eyeballs are not daggers, okay? Like some of you, I feel that there's been a certain nudge within you around not wanting to put things out there, around wanting to keep things a little bit more sacred or a little bit more private. And you're moving into a season in which you're really stepping into change, you're really stepping into your own power, and you're really stepping into visibility in a bigger way. And you're really allowing yourself to show up even if it's messy, even if it's unfinished, even if it's imperfect. And you're going to inspire a lot of people with your courage and your daringness to start, your daringness to put yourself out there and to believe in yourself enough to call in a new beginning. Because I will let you know, my love, especially if you are an Aries ascendant, by the end of this year, things are going to change a lot within your world. And I know we hear change and it feels very scary, but I promise to you, it's going to be very powerful. It's going to put you on a very fated karmic pathway, okay? A lot of those things we can't necessarily mess with, but this new moon essentially having the courage to want more for yourself, having the courage to be able to not feel ashamed for your desires, for the person that you are, to understand like, I'm worthy of that. Like I know sometimes within this life, people will try to tell you, oh, you're a princess. Oh, you want too much. Your standards are too high. And it's almost this new moon around, no, I'm going to get what it is that I want, right? This is the sign of self, okay? This energy of Aries. And I think Aries energy really inspires us around just their fearlessness and their courage around just stepping into their dreams and believing in themselves. Now, I know for some of you, you will be, if you use Placidus, you will be a Pisces ascendant. You might be like, does it not necessarily relate to me? It does, because y'all are having Saturn in your sign. And so you guys are being asked to boss up, right? Like be seen, put yourself out there and not hide. So regardless, whatever your ascendant is, there is this energy around putting yourself out there, right? Putting yourself out there in the pathway for new ideas, for new leadership opportunities. I feel that strongly just with Mercury there as well. Some of you are being asked to share your voice more, speak up, share your boundaries, share a podcast, put your words out there a little bit more, speak your truth. I'm hearing very strongly. And so with this new moon, really planting the seeds around it and understand, you know, you deserve to have those dreams that you dream of, okay? And it might be scary, okay? Some of you are gonna have Saturn in your first house or shortly entering. It might be scary. It might require discipline, right? It won't always feel like this exciting hike up the mountain to get what it is that we want. But if we keep showing up, we keep building that muscle, right? That is where endurance is built, essentially. And it all starts with that courage to try, right? And then to try again, and then to try again, and then to try again. It's okay to want more for yourself. It's okay to build the life that you want outside of what other people want for you. And this is a new moon to plant those seeds. If the Aries new moon lands within the second house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Pisces ascendant, but not always. So I want you to listen to the reading of wherever you have 0 degrees Aries within your chart. I do have a tutorial if you want to check that out. You can find it in the timestamps below. With this, you are planting the seeds for your boldest money, your boldest money manifestations, okay? Like you guys are having a lot of energy concentrated here. Like North Node's going to enter by the end of the year. Jupiter's there now. Chiron's there now. And you are being asked to kind of plant the seeds around what it is that you want for yourself and not having shame. I know a lot of us, you know, when it comes to money, there can be certain shame around, well, you grew up in this socioeconomic class, so you're not going to necessarily get there, right? Or certain shame around, am I materialistic around wanting all of these things? Like, am I materialistic to want this for myself? And this is the energy around, no, these desires were given to you for a reason. And some of you, I'll just say it, you know, you are really planting the seeds as it relates to starting a new business or starting a new stream of income. And again, wanting more for yourself and being willing to show up and do the work in order to overcome it, right? Like the only fear that I have with this new moon is that with it squaring Mars and conjoining Neptune, you know, real life isn't going to seem like how it seems in your dream. Like there is many times as it relates to business that you want to give up, that you are over it, right? It doesn't always feel like that zestful beginning, right? And it can be very scary having the brunt of your business on you. If you don't get up, you don't get paid, right? It can be scary to start to make money for your ideas and, you know, have a lot of your livelihood circled around it, right? But it also can be deeply empowering. And with this new moon, it's planting the seeds to, yes, start, but also continue to show up, to build this thing. So I'll say it won't happen overnight, okay? And because Aries is very beginning oriented, you know, I really don't want you guys to start something and then let it go. Like seriously, with this Aries new moon, it's like setting yourself up for this new financial beginning and beginning to build your way to it. Like, you know, Aries is the little ram. One step up the mountain at a time, right, is all it takes to build the finances and the business that you want. Some of you, this has nothing to do with money. Some of you are planting the seeds around your self-esteem. So it feels very strongly that a lot of you guys have had your sense of self distorted, or your self-esteem distorted. I don't know if you've been around people who have been very harsh on you, or if you're harsh on yourself, or something of that nature, but you don't see yourself clearly. Like, other people see your value and who it is that you are a little bit more clearly than you see at this time, and it's made you accept less than you know that you deserve. And this is energy that I would really step into, this energy around clarity, around seeing yourself the way that others see you, right? And it's not necessarily around needing them to validate you, but to understand the value within yourself that you haven't always stood by, right? That you haven't always anchored in. And to be able to plant the seeds around, no, I do not tolerate that, and I'm allowed to make that request, right? Or no, this rate actually doesn't work for me. I mentioned money interchangeably with self-esteem simply because it's the house of values. So what it is that we value in this world, which money is a token of that, as well as how it is that we value ourselves. So with this Aries new moon, financial manifestations are supported and intentions are supported, as well as planting the seeds around really being able to see your confidence, really being able to see your value and standing by it. Like, spend some time with an Aries, okay? If you don't have any Aries energy in your chart and you're struggling anchoring this in, be like, can I charge that much? Can I? Or like, ooh, am I worth that much? Spend some time with an Aries. Like, literally, my Aries best friend is always telling me, she's like, triple your rates, like quadruple your rates, like you're worth it, whatever, like step into it. Like, if I ever post about anything on Instagram, keep in mind, I'm not big at all, but she'll always be like, these brands need to be paying you, girl. You cannot be giving out the brands that you like without them paying you. Like, it's so funny. She just thinks, and that's how she operates in life. Is she just like asks for what it is that she wants and she gets it. Because when you step into that value around, yeah, I'm worth this much, you get it, right? Like, when you step into that, right? And sometimes, like, when it comes to negotiations, you'll like throw out a number and they're like, okay. And you're like, oh, could I have asked for more, right? Oftentimes there's a gap between what it is that we really provide to this world and what it is that we think that we provide, or like what it is that we think we are valued as. So this new moon is about essentially stepping into it, really seeing your own value and stepping into that, whether that shows up monetarily. For some of you, I feel with this new moon in the second house, there is this energy around being able to back your desires with finances. I don't know if you've been like holding back, putting your finances into your business or investing in something nice that's going to support your confidence, but this new moon, essentially your little push to make that happen, as well as just anything new that you want to start as regards to finances. So if you want a bolder investment strategy, right? This might be a time to look into that. If you wanted a new way of managing your money, maybe you need some clarity over that. Because like, again, with this new moon, there's like fogginess, whether you can't see your own value or you can't see your own finances. This is essentially being able to see your own value and feel that it's reflected within your finances, right? This is the energy, because maybe for some of you, it's not necessarily need to ask for more money, but getting more clarity around where my money is going, right? Like, I need to value myself more in understanding that I don't want to keep having to run on empty, feeling like I'm just living paycheck to paycheck. Like, let me gain clarity around where everything is going so I can set myself up on a more courageous, pathway forward. If the Aries new moon lands within the third house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be an Aquarius ascendant, but you may not be. Make sure to check out my tutorial if you're curious on how to tell where it lands within your chart. But alas, let's continue with Aries new moon third house horoscope. So for you, this new start that's building, which again is going to be a very concentrated point within your chart. Like, again, Jupiter has most likely been here, Chiron has most likely been here, North Node will enter. There's a lot of concentration around this arena of your life right now, okay? And one thing that's coming to the surface is, are you speaking your truth? And I know that is something that is so talked about all the time, right? But really, this new moon is about speaking your truth. I don't know if some of you have not been sharing your ideas at work. Some of you haven't been putting out yourself in regards to a promotion. Like, again, there's like some blockage when it comes to your voice, right? And when it comes to this new moon, it's essentially allowing your voice to back your desires, right? Allowing your voice to back your actions, really living in accordance to your word and showing up within that. Some of you, there's a new start in regards to taking a new class, learning something new. Again, that beginner's mindset is so so pure here, and I love it so much. And it's so fun to be a student. It's so fun to be in that role of just soaking in knowledge. I'm so excited because I am going back to astrology school. I'm so excited. I think it's just really important for me to continue to sharpen my skills as I continue to consult and teach and share and whatnot. This life is constantly about learning. We are here to learn. We are here to learn from those around us. Even if we feel that we are very excelled in our field, there's always more to learn. With this new moon in third house, it's asking you to plant the seeds around learning something new. Because, forgive me, because I don't know all the scientific tasks, but I believe, is it synapses? I think when you learn something new neural connections fire, but it basically just promotes a more healthy brain when you learn something new. So even if it's not related to your big purpose, right? Like you really have this purpose wanting to save the world, and you're like, yeah, I really want to learn, how to teach Pilates, but how would that contribute to my big picture? But essentially, like, you never know. Being at Pilates, you could meet someone new. You can sharpen your brain around learning this new strategy. Like, you are here to learn. Embolden learning. It's such an exciting place to be in that beginner's mindset, because it just reminds us that this world is a wondrous place. When we plant the seeds around, I actually have more to learn. And it gives us permission to try and fail stuff, right? Like when it comes to, being in a teacher role, oftentimes there could be this energy around, I've got to know it all. But like when you get to be back to being a student, it's like, tell me, let me soak up this knowledge. So with this new moon, there's something happening there. I will say, if some of you have been wanting to write a book, okay, and let me tell you something about writing. This book does not write itself. I know you have the characters, the prologue, the plot points. I know you have it all worked out in your head. You actually need to pick up the pen. You actually need to write, okay? You need to make it happen, because I think a lot of you are getting kind of like suffocated by what will people think, or like it needs to be the most perfect prologue. Just start it. Get feedback as you go. You gotta write the thing. Writers are so funny. There's so much identity that we have around, I'm a writer, but then we'll do anything beyond actually write. So writers, right, okay, this Aries new moon, this is me being stern. Some of you, it's a YouTube channel, it's podcast, you're being called to share, and share boldly, and share authentically. I want you to know you have Aries in the third house. People are gonna have a little bit of a fuss, and that is fine, okay? And I know it sucks. I know it sucks to read bad things about yourself around how much people hate you and whatever. Girl, I get it. But lately what I've been tapping into is like, okay, trolls are helpful for the algorithm. It's all good. Like, if you get some haters, it means you're doing something good. Like, again, my sensitive Pisces heart, every time I read something, and again, I'm not saying that I'm exempt from constructive criticism. Please let me know how you feel. It's not a big deal. I don't care as much any longer, but I will say, particularly early into sharing on the internet, I was like, I took these things as a personal attack, when it's like, my love, it's just how the internet works, right? And you are being asked with Aries, at least partway in your third house, to share your truth and share it boldly. Random, not all of you will resonate with this. Some of you are being asked to initiate towards a neighbor. I don't know if it's like a relationship or what, but like initiate setting a boundary with a neighbor, perhaps, is the energy. Maybe you have a noisy neighbor and you have to like have courage around being like, hey, can you stop playing music after this time, or what have you, like really boldly stepping into that. As well as some of you are being asked to put energy towards a sibling relationship, repairing a sibling relationship, or something of that nature. If the Aries new moon lands within the 4th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Capricorn rising, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of wherever you have 0 degrees Aries. And I do teach a tutorial if you're curious how to find that. Just find the timestamp below. So my loves, this is essentially a bold new start as it relates to your home environment. So firstly, let's start there, because it's both your physical home, the walls that encase you, as well as the home within your own soul and within your own being. And I feel this resounding feeling that for some of you, you've just been looking for the sensation of home, to just feel grounded, to just feel rooted, to just feel like I have enough and I am enough. Like, I just feel like a lot of you have been trying to like run or do all these things to try to like assert like I am enough. And this new moon is sort of like this divine reclamation around I am enough just by being. I don't need to prove it towards anybody. And some of you are planting the seeds around understanding that your emotions are valuable, okay? Like for some of you, I feel that you haven't really been understanding them as the data and the potency that they really are. Like some of you, you know, you could just be like, oh, you're so dramatic and you've been pushing these things out. And this new moon is, again, again, this planting the seeds around making your body and your mind a more nurturing home for your soul, right? Like this physical vessel, this mind, you know, it's with us until the end. And it's not to say that this house is about that, about the physicality, but it's basically saying, are you creating a home for your heart? Are you allowing your own emotions, your own nervous system to feel safe within your own being? Are you beating yourself up for having emotions? Like, it's asking for this nurturing energy within your own spirit, within your own soul. And when it comes to this new moon, there is this planting of seeds around your home environment. So for some of you, it's boldly being able to move out. For some of you, it's planting the seeds around moving house, purchasing a house, something in the nature. Again, I keep seeing this energy of bold because, again, it feels like something about this is going to feel out of your reach. Like, obviously, you do want to make sure your finances are somewhat aligned, but for some of you, there can be certain hesitations around, could I really live alone? Or is like my roommate my security blanket, right? Am I capable enough to like care and keep for myself outside of living with my parents? Like, there's just an energy around like kind of flying in regards to this new era or this new chapter that you are living. And with this new moon, it is this ask around ensuring that your home environment is a place where you do feel hyped up and supported. So for some of you, you know, there's been some roommate stuff or some family stuff. Okay, let's be real. And with this new moon, some of you have to assert a boundary, right? In order, it's giving structure to have softness. Like, it's giving, you have to have this fierceness, whether it's like saying, hey, that's actually not okay. Or like, hey, I actually can't live in an environment like this, in order for you to have that safety, in order for you to have that sanctuary. Because some of you, not all of you, but some of you may have Neptune in this fourth house as well. So you're extra sensitive to the events around home. And you know, when it comes to this particular house, you can just be drinking up the bad vibes like osmosis and wondering why you're not, you know, feeling good. It's like, you know, if a fish is in a dirty tank, it'll be a sick fish, right? It's just around its environment, and that's the vibe with Neptune, most likely in your fourth house, though perhaps not. But I just want to share with this new moon, it's essentially asking for this bold new start in regards to your emotions. So for some of you, maybe it's having a new activity that supports your emotions, whether it's working out, meditation, therapy, something purely for the intention around making your own soul a more supportive place for you, right? In all that you are and all that you embody within this world, as well as supporting your physical environment, supporting your family members, perhaps. Maybe for some of you, it's cutting off family members, honestly. And all I'll say is that pay attention during this new moon, because with this new moon, you're planting seeds, and this will be a very active part of your chart, okay? Especially in the coming months with North Node entering the sector and eclipses eventually going to enter the sector. And this is really energy around what is the home environment that's going to soothe me, that's going to inspire me, that's going to allow me to be the best version of myself, and how can I exact that fierceness or those boundaries or things of that nature in order to give that to myself. And how can I give that to myself as well? Because I feel like for some of you, you're in an environment that's bringing you down, and some of you, you're being really hard on yourself and you feel like you shouldn't have feelings. So again, Aries is a sign of self. Feel things intensely, right? Feel things intensely and then let it go. If you've been around an Aries who's feeling something emotional, they'll be dramatic about it, but they let it go, right? It's that spark, right? Which can feel intense at times. That anger coming in can feel intense, but it's like, allow yourself to feel it, because when you allow yourself to feel it, you allow it to dispel, okay? So that is what I want you to anchor in with this new moon. If the Aries new moon lands within the 5th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Sagittarius ascendant, but not always. So make sure to listen to the reading of where you have 0 degrees Aries. And I do have a tutorial below if you're curious on how to find the specifics. So you are essentially having this fresh new start. Again, the most pure energy to get back to the most pure components of yourself. Okay, like with this is getting back to your inner child. This is getting back to being carefree. This is getting back to those pieces within you that I know are within you, but sometimes they're muddied and confused by what this world wants of you. Like, there is this energy when you ask people what it is that they wanted to do when they were little. I'd love to hear it, guys. Let me know what you wanted to do when you were little. And I always said, I want to be a writer. I want to be a writer. I want to be a writer. And writing is still something that I love so much, but like that childlike dream that I had, it got all murky around people being like, you won't make any money in that. You won't make any money in that. You won't make any money in that. Luckily, I was still able to hold on to that particular passion. But oftentimes, we have a lot of things figured out when we're little. We really have a sense of this is who it is that I am, and this is the gift that I have to give this planet. It's life and the demands of life that make it murky and make it confusing on our soul, on our path. So when it comes to this new moon, what did you want to do? And are there parts of that you can loop into your path here? Like, I don't write for a profession, but I still do it for my own soul. Maybe you won't be a ballerina for your profession, but that doesn't mean you can't take dance classes. Maybe you won't be an astronaut, but it doesn't mean you can't study astrology. Like, looking at those little pieces of those dreams and understanding those desires still exist within you and getting back to that part of you. Some of you are planting the seeds around just having more fun, and I know that feels silly. I feel that for some of you, life might have been kind of heavy as of late, and you are really stepping into a era around just having more fun, living, spreading your wings. I don't know if some of you have come out like a hermit era or something of that nature, but you are just ready to live. Okay, I don't know if you're ready to party more, go out. I just felt for some of you, you've been locked into your bedroom, not really doing that much, just ensnared by the demands of other people. And this is a new moon around, no, I want to live. I want to make memories. I want to feel things. I want to take risks. I want to do all the things, right? And with this new moon, it is the cosmos cheerleading you around, yes, go out, do that thing. Not every night out will be the most fun night ever, right? But a lot of them will be. And you never know how that person that you meet could go somewhere, because that leads me to my next bucket is I do want to say some of you need to get back out there dating wise. I know some of you have been processing some major wounds. It can be very scary in dating what's coming up for you right now. You'd be like, I just need to protect my heart. I just need to protect my heart. Part of Aries' charm is that they just jump into things. And with this new moon, it's asking you to jump back into dating. Okay, it's scary. It's scary. Again, this new moon gives very much full energy. That can be scary. You're stepping off this precipice. It can be scary to fall in love. But this is a new moon around, okay, it's time for me to get back out there. For some of you who are dating or already in a committed relationship, this is a new moon to really plant the seeds around imbuing that energy of when you guys first started dating. For some of you, I feel you've been in a relationship for a while now, and things get mundane, right? The laundry has to get done, and the tasks need to get done, and there's things that need to get done, right? But this new moon is about essentially getting back to, when you first met this person and everything that they said, made your tummy have little butterflies, and flirting with your person, and those little things that you could have kind of lost touch with. This new moon is a radiant return to it. And for some of you, you've been trying to conceive. This is a new moon that's very optimal for planting the seeds around that, as well as for some of you, planting the seeds around just having more fun with your child, if you do have a child, as well as just planting the seeds to reconnect with your inner child. I will also say this new moon is very aligned for that new hobby that you want to try. And yes, you probably will look stupid trying it for the first time, but seriously, you get better and better every time. Maybe it's ice skating, and you go the first time, you fall on your butt, but then the second time you get a little bit better. Again, don't let the fear of looking stupid hold you back. And for some of you, I just strongly feel this. I really feel that, whether it's you work in something a little bit creative, or you like something that you do within work, or it's just demands of other things. But I just feel you haven't been nurturing your own hobbies. You haven't been nurturing your own fun. A lot of what you've been giving energy towards has been other people, has been your job, has been all these things. And this new moon is around, what do I do just for me? That I don't monetize, that doesn't need to be this whole thing. What am I just learning about myself, right? And doing something like that, join that book club, learn ice skating, do something that's just for you, okay? This new moon is supporting you in that. If the Aries new moon lands within the 6th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Scorpio rising. You potentially may not be a Scorpio rising. It all depends on where it is that you have 0 degrees Aries. There's a tutorial below in the timestamps if you're curious on how you can find that. But alas, let's go ahead and continue with your Aries new moon 6th house reading. So firstly, I just want to say you guys are having a lot of energy building within this section of your chart. So if you do listen to a lot of forecasts from me, you're like, girly girl, if you start talking to me about Aries and health again, I'm gonna lose it. But what can I say, my loves? You're just having a lot of the cosmos concentrated in this sector of your chart, and the cosmos really wants you to get your daily routine together. And I know it's annoying, but I'm here to say with this new moon, it's very aligned to focus on your health and your nutrition. I know. I do feel though, for some of you, you've been sort of suffocated by fear in regards to it. Whether it's suffocated by fear in regards to getting answers or suffocated in fear around, well, I don't want to try again. You know, I tried to lose weight and I failed and I don't want to try again. Like it's just made me feel so dejected. It made me feel so lame. I don't want to try again. I don't want to put myself out there. And this new moon is an energy around, you've got this. Like you have to have that courage to try and to start, right? And it gets easier every time that you show up. Some of you are being asked to assert a boundary as it relates to a coworker. Some of you are being asked to plant the seeds around a new side hustle, truly, with this energy of Aries, having the courage to, you know, try something on the side. And I will say, I do think it's an intelligent way to build a business. Like I did this on the side with my 9 to 5. I taught yoga on the side with my 9 to 5 until those two were able to outpace my income of my 9 to 5. So I think it's a smart way to do things, just kind of building something on the side until it kind of gains momentum. And for some of you, this is a really aligned time to plant the seeds around. And it feels very starting, initiating energy. Like Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. This is the first degree of the zodiac, this particular new moon. And there is this energy around, you can be kind of suffocated around, well, you know, is it really that good of an idea? Because nobody else has done it. It's like, no, nobody else has done it because you are destined to be the one to do that. Okay. So with this Aries new moon, it's about having that bold courage and courageousness in order to start something new, starting that new exercise and, you know, work routine, as well as putting yourself out there for work projects. I feel that some of you, maybe you want a promotion at job or you want to level up, you want to be seen as a leader. This is a time to kind of volunteer for that responsibility. Again, make sure you're getting paid for it or it's in your job description. I'm not saying you should, you know, work for free or anything, but if there has been fear that's holding you back around, could I possibly be a project manager? Could I do it? It's like, yes, okay, yes. Oftentimes our essence and our desires are suffocated by imposter syndrome, not being able to see ourselves how other people see us, right? Or how the workplace sees us. And this is a new moon to really allow yourself to step into your power and to understand that imposter syndrome is just part of it and you aren't going to let it hold you back any longer. I feel for some of you, and again, it's not a competition, but like you're better than a lot of people around you, but you don't see that. You don't see that. Other people see that of you. And if there's been like weird vibes in the workplace, it's because they see that. They see that in you. So there's been weirdness because they want to keep you small because they see how much you glow. And this new moon essentially being like, I want to see myself how these people see myself. Like, why am I having competitive hater energy at work? Like, I want to see myself how y'all see me because I'm no one to compete with. And being like, wait, I actually am someone to compete with. Y'all are right to look out for me. Whatever. That'll only be a message for a couple people. But I will say there is a resounding feeling around having more energy. Also, I feel for some of you, you know, you've been kind of sleepy, okay? And I don't blame you. We're just coming out of Pisces season. But this energy around playing the seeds around what will contribute to more energy. Is it getting like, you know, going to the doctor and figuring out something off with my hormones? Do I need supplements to dial this in? Like, what is off? What is my body trying to tell me? Because again, Aries is a very physical energy. 6th house is very much about mind and body. So there can be some wisdom or some seeds that you are planting at this time around feeling better, feeling more energetic, feeling more confident, feeling more courageous. If the Aries new moon, March 2023, lands within the 7th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Libra ascendant or you just have 0 degrees Aries within your 7th house. Either way, this reading is for you, and I do have a tutorial of how to find where exactly this new moon lands within my timestamps below. So you are planting the seeds for a relationship that really celebrates your own essence, your rawest essence, because that is what Aries embodies, is the parts of us that are raw and messy sometimes and unfinished, and calling in a relationship that sees you in that and celebrates that light within you. So often within relationships, we feel like we have to project this perfection all of the time, but your soulmate is somebody that you can chill on the couch with and, you know, chill in your pajamas and laugh with, even if you have no makeup on. Or, you know, your soulmate is somebody who's going to be able to see you in those messy moments and like put you back together again, right? Like that is what a soulmate is somebody who sees you within those raw moments, within those messy moments, and celebrates you and empowers you. So for some of you, there can be planting of the seed around calling in individuals who really are just attracted to your essence. Not it is that what they see in you, not it is what they want you to be, right? But just seeing you in your pureness, because I will highlight, not all of you, but many of you will be a Libra ascendant. And sometimes it's interesting being a Libra ascendant because you do have this enormous emotional intelligence. You know how to read people. You know how to charm people. And because you're so good at reading people, you're very gifted at being able to like shapeshift, like what would be the ideal person for you. That's why it's like, I always joke with my Libra rising friends. I'm like, go outside without making 5 people fall in love with you, challenge. So, you know, when it comes to this new moon, it's like getting back to your own essence and calling in a relationship that celebrates that. Not what you felt like you've had to be in order to seduce this person or call this person in, but just like your essence. Because that's what a sustainable relationship is. Because at a certain point, you know, the mask has to come down. You know, we can't project all the while. Some of you are in a relationship and what you're calling in is that invigoration within the connection. So for some of you, you know, intimacy stuff. Some of you, it's like this energy around remembering to try things together, right? Oftentimes when we're in a relationship, we just think we know everything there is to know about our partner. And with this new moon in the 7th house, it's challenging the two of you. Maybe make a new sort of date night, try something new, look at one another with new eyes, right? Allow yourself to plant the seeds around nurturing that kind of like flirty, banter, competitive vibe within your connection, right? Like looking at one another with fresh eyes, understanding that your partner has many mysteries. Like maybe you guys could get one of those apps, you know, that ask one another questions or play one of those games or challenge one another to competition. But this new moon is a microcosm of calling in more of that energy. Some of you, it's not so lighthearted. Some of you, I'm feeling strongly, you need to assert yourself within your relationship, okay? You need to assert yourself. Someone's been taking advantage of you or kind of like walking all over you. And when it comes to this new moon, it's really the time to kind of plant the seeds around allowing your needs to be heard. Like I said, some of you have a tendency to shapeshift around your partners because you have this enormous emotional sensitivity. You know how to read people. And this energy around being like, just because I can shapeshift around you doesn't mean I need to, right? You've been taking me for granted. It's time that my needs are honored as well. I do want to highlight, some of you are setting off on a brand new journey as it relates to a contract or something of that nature. You are the most magnetic at this time as it comes to manifesting through people. So focus on the boss you want to work for, right? Focus on the partner you want to call in. Focus on the, you know, even to a micro level, like the babysitter you want to hire for your kids. Like focus on the people with this new moon. That's where you're the most magnetic, as well as see the contract. Random, but 7th house is contract. So if you want to work, you know, as a spokesperson for Nike or something, just see it, you know, within your mind's eye. And maybe even write a contract to yourself around what it is that you will and will not allow, because it just feels like this is a really powerful new moon to draw a line in the sand in regards to boundaries with the people within your life. If the Aries new moon lands within the 8th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Virgo ascendant. You potentially may not be. You simply have 0 degrees Aries within your 8th house. Either way, this reading is for you. So my loves, you know, you guys are really having to plant the seeds around being open to the transformation that life is bringing your way, okay? And I know that you're going into this kicking and screaming, being like, what do you mean transforming? What do you mean rebirth? It's coming, okay? And we can either allow ourselves to flow with where the universe is pushing us or be dragged. Our attempts to freeze eras of our life, freeze chapters, freeze people will ultimately be futile because the direction of life moves forward and you are being asked to flow with it, okay? And to understand how courageous you are, okay? Some of you, you know, there's certain aspects of your life where you do feel like you've been in a comfort zone of sorts and you're ready to put yourself out there. You're ready to put yourself out there to more risk. You're ready to put yourself out there to a deeper intimacy. I'm feeling strongly, some of you, you guys are really scared to like let people in and let people help you. And maybe it's because a lot of you guys, a lot of us, is where mine lands, are Virgo ascendants, right? So we're used to doing things ourselves. We don't want to accept help, but even to ways like within your relationship, not totally wanting to merge or things of that nature. There's just this fear, right? And we tend to think of these terms of courage as, you know, bow and arrows and going after what we want. Absolutely. But in this murky house, it's also about having the courage to surrender. It's about having the courage to trust, right? Having the courage to trust the people within your life, having the courage to trust your spouse, having the courage to trust the universe, even when things feel murky. Some of you are setting off on a new spiritual journey, okay? With it in the 8th house, you're facing your shadow self, okay? You're facing the parts of yourself that are raw, that are messy and unfinished image, and you're releasing feeling like it all needs to be pretty and perfect. I feel that some of you have felt like you've had to project, I've got it all together. I've got it all together. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. And almost to an internal level, it's like you've been pushing out anything in your life that's like dark or that you don't want to deal with, because you don't want other people want to see it either. So you're just like, everything's fine. But I want you to know that this new moon is asking you to, embolden the darker parts of your journey. Again, not to stay there, but to have the courage to face them, right? To have the courage to show up authentically and messily, and to be forthright about your desires. I'm feeling strongly to be forthright about your intimacy. Some of you have to draw a boundary in regards to intimacy, or you need to initiate more as it relates to intimacy to ensure that element of your life feels true to yourself and true to your desires. Some of you, since this is the sector of merged finances, taxes, some of you just need to get a jump on your taxes, okay? Let's be real. If you haven't done your taxes yet, this new moon might be asking you to do so, as well as with it in the house of, shared resources. You're magnetic when it comes to really seeing a raise for your partner, as well as asserting yourself if you do need different ways of relating as it relates to your guys' shared finances. That'll only be a message for a couple of people, but I want to highlight, really don't fear doing the deeper inner work at this time, okay? It takes courage. It takes courage to face the darkest, deepest recesses of our soul and of our journey and of our shadow self, and that's what this new moon is encouraging you to plunge into. Ready or not, here we come. If the Aries new moon lands within the 9th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Leo ascendant. You potentially may not be. You simply have 0 degrees Aries within your 9th house. I do have a tutorial below if you want to check out how to find where exactly this new moon lands. But alas, let's get into your Aries new moon 9th house reading. You guys need to spread your wings and fly, okay? You need to spread your wings and fly. You need to find freedom as something that is exciting rather than something that is scary, okay? Because, for that bird, when they're leaving the nest, they're like, am I ready for this? Am I ready for this? And then even when they're flying, they're like, but the nest was so cozy. Look at the view. Look at what it is that you are seeing and taking in, okay? This new moon is about planting the seeds to spread your wings within your life. I don't know what it is that you are scared of, but this is asking you to take a risk, get out of your comfort zone, whether it's a big trip that you want to take, whether it's, enrolling in your master's. I'm hearing strongly a lot of you are enrolling in school or maybe wrapping up in school and starting to teach, but there is this energy around sharing your knowledge, and that can feel scary. I feel for some of you, you're starting teaching or you've been mastering a spiritual skill and you're ready to start sharing it, and there's like almost this energy around, can I? Obviously, when it comes to spirituality, you do need to be well studied, right? I'm not saying you can skip steps, not with Saturn and Pisces right now, no. But what I am saying is that some of you, I deeply feel you've been really doing the work and you are ready to share. And I want to share with you what my mentor told me, because I had studied for 2.5 years with him one-on-one, self-studied 5 or 6 with him every single week, 2.5 years. And I still didn't feel ready. I was like, could I possibly accept money for giving readings? Even though he said multiple times, you're ready. You've passed all the tests, you're certified, you've worked with me, you need to be the teacher. He literally kind of pushed me out of working with him. He was like, go, go teach, go lead. You're done here, okay? Not that you can ever be done with astrology, but I got what he was trying to say. And I feel that for you guys as well. You're like, wait, one more certification. Wait, am I ready? Wait, am I ready? And some of you are ready to shift into being in that absorption mode to being in that output mode, being in that sharing mode. And with the energy in Aries, it's going to feel scary, right? Certain people might not agree with your ideas. They might critique your method of delivery. Try. Build that muscle around showing up, sharing your output, sharing what it is that you've chiseled, what it is that you've excavated. Some of you with this new moon, you are really in, feeling aligned with spirit and trusting spirit. I'm feeling, some of you, it's almost like this trustful new moon where you're just feeling held. You're just feeling excited about life again. You're just feeling like the universe is taking you to where it is that you want to go, and you don't want to fight anymore. You just want to see for yourself the way that the universe sees you, see yourself the way that God sees you, right? And to understand that it's all designed, all has a plan, even in those frustrating moments. You are exactly where you're meant to be. I know that's not always easy. I know a lot of you just got out of some Saturn stuff for sure. But I do want to say, I just feel like this energy around just feeling held and trusting your intuition more. A lot of you, I feel that you've gotten a lot of ideas and you almost hesitate around putting them out there. And then you might have seen your ideas pop up in other people. You're seriously tapped in. and you could be hesitating on it. But I want you to know that if an idea comes into your mind, that is a transmission from God. That is a transmission from universe. And when you doubt that idea, when you doubt your intuition, you are literally doubting God. So I feel for some of you, you're planting the seeds around trusting your intuition more, taking aligned action as your spirit nudges you to. And so I'm cheerleading you, and the universe is cheerleading you too. And again, just want to reiterate, some of you need to book that trip. Book that trip, enroll in that program, okay? Like, some of you are shifting into a teaching role, and some of you are shifting into a role where you need to get out of your day-to-day in order to ponder the bigger questions of life. If the Aries New Moon lands within the 10th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Cancer rising. You may not be. You may just have 0 degrees within your 10th house. Either way, this reading is for you. And I do have timestamps below that will support you in finding where exactly 0 degrees Aries lands in within your chart if you are curious. Alas, let's get into the Aries New Moon 10th house reading. So you guys are being asked to really tap into your leadership, okay? And if you're sick of me delivering this message because, you know, Jupiter's been here, Chiron's been here, you guys have a lot of the cosmos concentrated here. North Node may be about to enter. And truly, with this energy, you are being asked to be fearless and to be corny. I literally feel like everybody had this quote on their walls when I was in college, but like, follow what makes your heart on fire. Like, that is the vibe with the new moon in the 10th house. Like, it's about boldly initiating your new start in business, boldly initiating your new start within career, allowing eyeballs to be on you and seeing them more so as other people also helping to manifest and edify your success rather than daggers. This is not a time to fear judgment. This is not a time to fear visibility. This is a time that more eyeballs are on you, okay? And it's going to help you ascend. It's going to help you up level. You're going to have more eyeballs on your business. You're going to have more eyeballs on you at work. You're going to have more eyeballs on your reputation, okay? So what I will say, reputation-wise, is, you know, to thine own self be true. Make decisions that you will feel good about at the end of the day with this energy in Aries. And a lot of you, because you have Aries in the 10th house, you are being asked to trailblaze. You are being asked to carve a new pathway for yourself. So when it comes to Aries energy, if there's something that hasn't been done and you're like, well, it can't possibly be that good of an idea if, you know, it haven't been done yet, it's because you are here to do it, truly. Like, and this new moon is about believing it. And some of you, I feel strongly, there is like a pivot coming here. Some of you are in the right industry and this is the level up. Okay, so seeing yourself as that even more successful person, as that, you know, that version of you that's promoted. Some of you have been unsatisfied with work, and this is planting seeds around the new business that you want to start, okay? And you are planting the seeds and you're speaking into existence. It could involve in some way words, but really just with this new moon on Mercury, you are putting mental energy around it. And I would deeply advise during this new moon. Some of you, if you've been recovering from like a bad reputation thing, maybe, you know, something that you shared on social media wasn't the best, or maybe at work, you know, you got passed by an opportunity. This is the energy around not giving up. This is about having resilience and bouncing back up, overcoming the challenges, right? And maintaining that clarity on what it is that you want. And again, it will pivot. It will take different formats. You might have always wanted to be a writer, and maybe that's kind of transitioned into advertising and it's a way better fit for you, right? And it's not wrong from that initial vision. Focusing on the why of it, especially with this on Neptune. Why is it that you want to write? Oh, I want to share my ideas. What sort of ideas? I am passionate about this. Keeping that heartbeat the same, because that heartbeat is a fire, okay? That is warming. It is empowering. It is inspiring for others, right? And for some of you, if you're not feeling tied into that natural fire that lights you up as a leader, right, as an initiator, this is a new moon to get back to that essence within you, right? And for some of you, with this new moon, it is this energy to pivot in a way that conduces the fire. Some of you are being asked to plant the seeds for a new idea at work. Maybe it's to be bold enough to advocate for an idea that you think would work so well, and you almost need to, you know, even if it gets shot down, be like, no, I really think this would be a good idea. Our market research says this would be a good idea. Some of you need to believe in yourself, and some of you need your voice to be louder, okay? A lot of people who watch my channel are women. I know not all, okay? I know not all, and I know some individuals are gender fluid, but I just do want to highlight that oftentimes within a workplace scenario, a lot of women, femme-presenting individuals do feel like their ideas are shot down, right? And we need to get better about voicing our ideas and really being able to say it without being like, well, I think, right? Or what do you guys think? Or like, no worries if not. It's just like, this is what I think. Some of you are like tapping into your inner at work, literally. Because if you've been around Aries, you know they do not play. They say what it is that they want, and that's that. Some of you need to get more comfortable delegating, okay? I really see some of you getting into this boss mentality. Some of you might be outsourcing for the first time, or you're just really stepping into this sector around being able to ask people to help do things for you, right? Like, this is the house of leadership, essentially. And when it comes to being a leader, it's not about you doing all the things all well, right? It's also about how it is that you manage, right? And seeing yourself as an effective manager. So that is what you're planting the seeds for this Aries new moon. If the Aries new moon lands within the 11th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Gemini rising. You potentially may not be a Gemini rising. You potentially may just have 0 degrees Aries in your 11th house. Wherever you land, this reading is for you. You are planting the seeds around being more bold as it relates to your hopes and dreams. Some of you daydream about things, but you like almost, it feels like you bucket things around realistic daydreams and not realistic daydreams. And you, while you'll dream about the unrealistic daydreams, you don't really see yourself as being able to accomplish them. And this new moon is about being able to see yourself as someone who can accomplish them. Like I'm telling you, in every single hope and dream, there's a thread, okay? Particularly with this new moon on Neptune. And what I mean by thread, okay, you might not be, an astronaut. Maybe you dream about being an astronaut. You might not be, the creative designer for Tom Ford or whatever it is that you want to do, right? But there's a thread. Why do you have that desire? What if you looked at your dreams as hints, right? Because just to share, I never thought I would be an astrologer. It's been a nerdy passion of mine since I was truly 8 years old, but I never thought I would be an astrologer, okay? What I did know is that I loved storytelling. I've always known that I've loved writing. And that love for storytelling has shifted me towards PR, marketing, all of these different things, but that thread remained the same. And the reason I pursued that thread is because I allowed that passion and that lighting up of storytelling to guide me forward. And I just feel for some of you, you might have settled in some arena, or you feel like you've settled or something of that nature. And this is about emboldening your dreams and believing in yourself again. You also, some of you are being asked to initiate friendships. Friendships are not just something that happens. It is something you have to put an effort towards. Taking the initiative to be like, let's start a wellness club. Every month, let's get my friends together and we can do different activities from spa day 1 week, maybe take a yoga class together the next week. We tend to think of friendships as something that just happen, right? Because we've been places like school or at the play yard where it just kind of happens. We're together. But now in adulthood, I'm assuming most of you are adults, you have to actively work that muscle around being able to put yourself out there. They might say no. They might say they're busy. That's fine. Put yourself out there. Say, hey, do you want to do yoga with me? And some of you are going through a major transformation, and your friend group should transform along with that, right? If you're not feeling inspired and motivated by your circle of friends, I'm not saying drop them, but I am saying be open to new individuals. There is something to be said about the people who you are surrounded by and whether they up level and celebrate your light or whether you feel like they put them down. Some of you need to enact boundaries with friendships. Some of you, your light is being dimmed. I want you to observe which people make you shine brighter and which one you feel like you have to cover your flame, okay? If the Aries new moon lands within the 12th house of your astrological natal chart, this reading is for you. You may potentially be a Taurus ascendant, but not always. You may just have 0 degrees Aries within your 12th house. Either way, this reading is for you. So, if you listen to a lot of forecasts from me, which by the way, I'm so grateful for, but you might be sick of me talking about this sector of your chart because I'm telling you, it's being lit up like the 4th of July in 2023. Most likely North Node will enter this sector. Most likely Jupiter and Chiron is there. There's a lot of energy concentrated here. And the reason I specify that is because this might be a sector that's not the most exciting, but it is the most valuable and it is the most powerful in regards to some cycles that you're moving into this year. So when it comes to this new moon within the 12th house, some of you are really, really fiercely exerting the muscle around really wanting to understand spirituality. Like a lot of you are interested in it and even following the breadcrumbs. And this is sort of this Aries new moon about like really jumping into these things, like really seeing yourself as that. I don't know if you've been keeping it separate from your identity. Like, yeah, I'm into these things, but I'm not woo-woo or anything. And this is the new moon around really allowing yourself to be seen within that craft and within that modality. For some of you, you know, you're shifting into maybe like even being able to give readings in this modality or something of that nature. Some of you need to face your fear of being alone. I'll just say it. I don't know if you tend to be a bridger, so like jump from relationship to relationship, or feel lost without a relationship. You know, that won't be the story for everybody, but I do feel that is the story for a couple people, and that there can be this energy of like kind of settling because you feel like somebody's presence is better than being alone. Anything but being alone. And this is sort of a new moon to like be able to create peace with that. Like, you know, when you have 12th house transits, there is an energy that it can feel very isolating, right? It does remind you, wow, I really am out here on my own. And like, I don't want to scare anybody. I'm not saying there's a breakup, nothing of that nature. But this is a new moon to get comfy with your own solitude, because some of you have been running away from the scary stuff, maybe making light of it or something of the nature. And for some of you, doing this shadow work is actually very helpful. You're pouring it into your craft. If you are into the spiritual arts, you're pouring it into your art. If you're into that, I always think with 12th house transits, you know, when I meet with my clients, 12th house transits are when a lot of people write books. It's when a lot of people create, you know, the body of music they're most proud of. It's when a lot of people go on a sabbatical. It's just a time that you kind of withdraw. And you kind of come inward and you stop looking for the answers that you're seeking within the external world, and really ensuring with this in the 12th house, some of you need to just face your fears, okay? You know, a lot of you, not all, but a lot of you are Taurus ascendant. So you like to move through things in a very steady, patient way. And there's nothing wrong with that. We love that. But with the Aries energy, you and your fear of rejection holds you back from things. And this is sort of a new moon to kind of plant this energy of courage, like from the inside out, truly. Like really believing in yourself, and also stop being so scared of failure, okay? I just really feel like you feel like failure or rejection means that you're a badass person. It's not. Like, you know, you have to get comfortable with failure. You have to get comfortable with letting people down. You have to get comfortable with doors being slammed in your face. Like, you just do. Like, you know, I just heard this quote yesterday, the road to success is actually paved with no's on both sides. Like, you have to get comfortable saying no and letting people down, right? And fearing being on your own just in case you let someone down or assert a boundary. But also your road to success means going towards people and opportunities and hearing no a gazillion times, but still showing up. And truly, like, I just feel with this in the 12th house, like it is a self-sabotaging behavior is your desire to not assert yourself or say what it is that you want, even if your heart's in it or like your instincts are in it, right? With this energy in Aries, and if you feel so strongly, you like hesitate, right? And like I said with our earlier beginning piece, and just you know, guys, when I see the statistics and a lot of people just jump to their house reading, which again, no worries on that, but please, I deeply recommend check out the collective forecast before diving into your house reading or after, now that we're this far through, just because it does provide a lot of nuance to the unique story that this essentially new moon is writing. So my loves, I am so excited about this new moon. Can you tell? It really just encapsulates the spirit of bold new beginnings and failure, but getting back up and allowing our new starts and our first starts to be messy and unfinished, because I'm telling you, anything glossy that you see within your world started with a messy first draft. This is the new moon to write your messy first draft. My loves, my Instagram handle is @HaleyCommentAstrology. My TikTok is the same. Would so love to connect with you over there. If you gained any value from this video, any bit of engagement would be so deeply helpful. I also have some membership options on my channel. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay calm.